Hey, folks. This is Jeff Sprang. I'm the CEO and director of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, coming to you live from Vermont, where I've been staying for the last few months at this point. And this is our third weekly check-in. This is a way just for us to talk directly to any fans out there that want information about what's going on with the Disc Golf Pro Tour and what is happening generally in the disc golf world during this pandemic. So always just want to start by recognizing that this is such a odd and challenging time for so many folks. Want to thank all those essential workers, especially the medical professionals on the front line. This continues to be a huge challenge for our country and the world. And we just know that there's a lot of difficult situations out there. We feel lucky that as a Disc Golf Pro Tour organization, that most of the folks that we work with and their families are doing well. So, as an update about us, we've got Sam in Emporia, still with our trailers and our travel vehicles, and he's doing well out there. He's been creating some great content, looking at the courses and creating some really artistic walkthroughs of some of the beautiful venues out in Emporia, being one of the premier disc golf hubs in the country. And we're all missing it right now because we just missed the GBO, which is one of the best events in the world. We also have our media manager, Mamoon, in New York City. He's hunkered down and doing pretty well. We've got myself and Evan in Vermont. We've got our retail manager up in Maine, Aaron, and our operations and logistics and admin director, Seth, down in Florida, partnerships director, Sean out in Cali, and everybody's hanging in there. So that's a brief update. As I see folks are starting to stream in just about what's going on with us. So we hope that everybody out there is hanging in there. We know that not just medically, it's not just a medically challenging time, but also economically, there's a huge impact on just our way of life and business and people's jobs and whatnot. So hope everybody's hanging in there. We all hope that this is starting to get better, but there's also a lot of challenges that we're going to have along the way, especially with reopening and having the opportunity to have the COVID virus pick up steam if people aren't continuing to be careful. So we're staying up to date with news. A lot of news these days that we've seen from a couple states are that they are opening up some golf courses, including disc golf courses. We know that Maine opened up golfing and disc golfing, and there's specific restrictions. We know that Vermont just planned to on May 15th. So that's where we're at. And, we know that other states across the nation are opening up, golf courses, including disc golf in that. And the people continue to play in public courses and private courses, using social distancing and being smart. So it's brought about a lot of questions. And the main questions I think that we've seen and heard regard sanctioning with the PDGA. And there's no specific update, but the PDGA did put out an update yesterday that just talked about, socially responsible play. And that's a good resource if you guys, just want to know what their recommendations are at this time. We're definitely following it. And we thank them for putting out that resource for disc golfers across the country, because I think while some people know what to do, others are wondering what's right, what's prudent, what's safe at this time. It all has to do with local guidelines from what we can tell. And, having a guideline like the PDGA's resource that they put out from Justin Menichelli, the president there of the board, is always great. That said, I can certainly look specifically now a little bit at the tournaments that have been affected by COVID-19 on our end. We have a number of tournaments affected. There's nothing that has changed basically since the last time I talked to you guys last week, but I can give you a sense of things. I'm going to skip right down to the San Francisco Open. It is still postponed, and we are nearing a decision on how we're going to move forward. We're looking at a date at the end of June, and the big question is, is there going to be the ability to sanction the event? If there is the ability, that would have to go through the PDGA's process that they're working on now. What they're working on right now is trying to figure out the best way to allow individual states to open up sanctioning. State coordinators are going to have to get resources together and then apply. That will happen in June, and we expect some states, hopefully, to return to sanctioning at that time. Now, will California, which is divided into southern and northern sections, will California regain sanctioning? We hope so. And that would affect the Goat Hill event. The Goat Hill event is a silver series. It's the one that's right after San Francisco. It's not on this list because it hasn't officially changed its date, so it's not officially affected yet. It's a silver series, as mentioned, and if you want more information, you can head to our website if you need to know what a silver series event is. But it's basically the sub tier to the elite series, and those are the main events that we run and we do live coverage at. So all that said, I think like the main thing that we're wondering is sanctioning going to return to California, number one. Is local guidance going to allow these events to be run? And if so, what are the touring precautions that we need to advise the players on that do need to travel, and ourselves and media team? So I got into those last week a little bit. If you want to hear a little bit more about what the guidelines for travel are that we're considering, you can look back at last week's episode. I'm trying to keep these short and sweet. So I'm going to, just kind of skip over that so I don't repeat myself. I'm going to, with that update about the events, not a lot changing at this time, but a lot changing in the near future. But with that update, I'm going to throw it to the comments and see if I've got anybody, asking anything in there. And I've got Louis and Nino saying disc golf tournaments will happen this year. Can I say the sentence, disc golf tournaments will happen this year? Or are we still thinking in terms of waiting and see? It's going to be a wait and see, but I'm fairly confident that we'll return to a semblance of disc golf tournaments. We're really just focused on our events, the DGPT events, but I'm pretty confident that certain states will be approved for sanctioning by the PDGA for June. That's just me. I'm not speaking for the PDGA. They have clearly laid out a process, but I do know that certain localities are talking about that. So I think that's there. So thanks for the update. So somebody's asking about the Portland Open here. So let me look. Portland Open. Yeah. So the Portland Open's still 22nd for the M side. We are working with Blue Lake and looking to confirm these dates as soon as possible. But right now, we're hopeful. We know that Oregon's not one of the states that's hit really hard, but they're being cautious, and rightfully so. Next question: what's the state coordinator application going to look like? I don't have the PDGA is going to release several documents mid-month here, and that coordinator application I think is going to be one of them. They're working right now with state coordinators behind the scenes to make sure everything's vetted out, everything's going through all the proper channels, and that everybody's on board. So we're waiting for that as well. But I can tell you that the PDGA has some of the best folks in the sport, or even outside of the sport, managing this. And I think that they're walking a really tough line, right? Because as most of you guys may notice, society is fairly divided. There's a lot of people who would like to get out there and get going. And there's a lot of people that understand the risks associated and wouldn't fall on that edge. So when you're talking about an organization, a sports league, a sports organization, there's a lot involved. There's lawyers, there's insurance, there's the safety of all the disc golfers out there, and starting gatherings is a big deal right now. So they're going to take it one step at a time, from what I can tell. And again, I'm not a representative, I'm not a spokesperson for them. So that said, it looks like that's the questions right now that have been asked. If anybody has any other questions in the last few minutes here, put them up there and I'll try my best to answer them. But right now I'm going to switch over to a couple campaigns that we're working on. One is the best shot bracket that's running, but you guys can just hit up our social media and check that out. We're into deciding the final four of the best shot bracket, but what's next up after the best shot bracket is the virtual putting invitational, and we have debuting right here this bracket. So this is the MPO bracket. There's 34 competitors, there's 2 play-ins, and we're going to be posting this up on our website and social media this evening so you guys can dig in a little bit more. We're going to be announcing a bracket challenge. Let's click over and see the FPO bracket. There we go. And you can see the seeds. All the seeds in the virtual putting invitational are based on 2019 putting stats on UDisc. So it's pretty interesting because it's not just rated based on the standings and the tours or professionals ratings. It's just their putting stats. So the putting stats are a combination of C1X and C2. And we're really excited to get this underway. Next week, Thursday through Sunday, we're going to be broadcasting live these matches. So while it's not a return to full disc golf, this is a return to competition for some of our top pros. And, some of these matches are pre-recorded. They're under wraps. So I'm not going to tell you guys who's winning, but I can tell you they're a lot of fun. And when we go live stream, there's going to be a lot of fun comments. We're going to do YouTube for the first weekend. So round of 32, round of 16 will be here at the comments. And then we'll eventually shift over to DGN. We'll announce the broadcast schedule, I think, over the weekend, so you guys can stay up to date on that. But yeah, just stay on the lookout. We're really excited about that. And in the interest of keeping this short, I'll leave it there and go back to a couple more comments that are coming in and questions. So can't wait for Smugs Open May 22nd. Yeah, that's exciting. I've been just walking around the courses and around that area since I actually live very close to the courses up in Vermont. And as I've been, kind of quarantining, that's a good place to walk. So we'll see if we have any tweaks or changes to the layouts this year. Let's see. State coordinator application answered that one. Favorite hole at Brewster Ridge? Man. I would say probably hole 4. It's a beautiful hole. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to say hole 15. The reason why hole 15, it's got like an island fairway and green. That was the first hole that I designed on the course, hole 15, that was, really off the beaten path. There was no trail near or around it. It was just kind of in the middle of the woods. And when we were designing the course, we based it off some of the trails system, but that one just fell into place perfectly. And I still remember, standing in the middle of the woods there and seeing the lane and seeing the beautiful green and the rock wall. So I'm going to have to go with 15 Brewster Ridge. So spectators for Ledgestone is the next question. And that mid-August tourney would be without spectators. So yeah, I can say that August is nearly certainly going to have 0 spectators. And I know I have been up to date in talking with Nate Heinold, who's the TD of Ledgestone. and they're pushing forward with the event, and it looks like August will be fine to hold the event. But unless something drastically changes, there's not going to be spectators. So that's kind of tricky. Got another question here. What's the prize for the bracket challenge? So we're going to announce that soon, but it's going to be something really cool, shopping spree-esque. We will have some DGPT merch packages with all of our new stuff bundled up, and there's going to be a lot of other prizes as well. So let's see. Will New Hampshire residents be able to play Smugs when it opens? So I don't believe so. Right now, Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, I think, all opened golf courses relatively the same time, because they don't want people crossing from Vermont to New Hampshire to Maine, Vermont to Maine, Maine to Vermont, because they'd like people to not travel far. So I think at least on the start of the opening, there won't be travel to Vermont. I don't know that Smugs will necessarily ask for driver's license, but I think that the public guidance of all the states is to stay in your state if possible, and only leave for essential reasons. So will the players wear masks? So that's a good question. I think that the answer is no, but I can't say for sure. Right now, the states that have casual golf open and the states that would be opening sanctioning, they're not calling for masks on people, mandated masks on people in casual play that I know of. So if that's the case, I can't imagine, because of, competition that we mandate it. I think it would be recommended. I think players could choose to do that, but when we confirm any tournaments, we would always, make sure all those details are very crystal clear. Let's see, anything else? Willing to be the prize winner of the putting league. So yeah, the bracket challenge will open tomorrow. So there'll be a link, and people can start filling out brackets, maybe even later tonight, as soon as we get it up. But it's pretty much finalized, and look out, because I already saw the bracket. It's so fun to fill out. I've made my picks, and I've got my champ. And it's going to be fun to look at this. I think people will be pretty excited about it. So yeah, all that said, it looks like those are the questions. Hopefully this was informative. I know that things are slowly moving, and everybody would like more news, or to say, hey, we're officially on. Looking forward, it looks like the end of next week we'll have probably final decisions about the potential for California events in June, and the following week, it's not probably going to go past the 20th of May that we're going to actually give a little bit firmer guidance on Portland too. So look for updates that have a little bit more information on, hey, where to go, or things aren't looking so good, or maybe cancellations soon. Everybody hang in there, and stay positive. It's better weather, but that doesn't mean everything's good to go quite yet. So be smart, be safe, and be well. From all of us at the DGPT and DGN, we're wishing you the best, and see you next week.